You're not going out tonight.
When it was to that movie, Birds and the Bees.
She didn't go see the Birds and the Bees. She got mad then and went home with Johnny and Willie and stayed all night.
We want to go see the Birds and the Bees.
Well,
I never did learn about that.
first,
You might check your watch.
after my daddy died, there was a set of twins formed about a month after he died. And I have lived some lonely hours from the time they were born, and then Mother had to go to work. I wasn't old enough to go to work. She had to go to work, and I raised Myrtle on a sugar tit. Do you know what a sugar tit is?
No.
She's one of the twins. The twins.
Myrtle lived and the other one
It
died.
was sugar and bread. Sugar and bread that you tied up in a thin rag and wet it and give it to them to nurse. And I've put up some lonely hours taking care of her and Mother be gone. And back then we had what they called hobos. And I was always scared of them. So whenever one would come up to the door, yeah, and Henry always called me Little Mog. And I carried him. I thought he was wonderful when he was little, you know. And so he just kept on wanting me to carry him until he was so big his feet would drag the ground. So one day Mom got us ready and we was going on the weekend to spend the weekend with one of my uncles and aunts. And I thought, well, this is one time that I am not going to carry little Henry. So, because we got out and started, carry me, Little Mog. I picked him up and I thought, well, you'll go off in the branch down here. So there was a footlog across the branch and a pretty deep place below the footlog. Well, when I got about middle ways of the footlog, off we went in the water. Well, Mom, she said, oh, I have a good mind taking you in back and not even going. And I thought, oh, now I've learned it all, you know. Thought I wouldn't get to go. But she took us back to the house and she kindled up a little fire and put us on some dry clothes and we went on then. But Henry never did want me to carry him no more.
I can't blame him.
Took me to the pond, you.
So I never did have any trouble with little Henry no more of carrying him.
But how many changes of clothes did you have back then?
Huh?
But how many changes of clothes did children
Well,
back then have?
Mom was always a good provider to keep us extra clothes in case we had to go to a funeral or something. Some good clothes for that. But we had just about everyday changes. We just had about 2 changes. I mean, you know.
Uh-huh.
So, but she always kept back something that's better in a case of a funeral or something where we have to go. And so then Mother married again.
Who did she marry?
She married Griggs Bledsoe. And we lived over in Flatwoods. I'd never seen the Knobs. And when they married, we moved into the Knobs. And when I went in there, I thought, well, why did they paint the houses just up so far? You know, why didn't they paint it all the way? Well, it was that red mud. Beat up on the... It wasn't paint. And so, then, the first time I met George, I was out in the yard, and his mother and the boys and Maybelle had been over to Clem Bruce's. So they come in, And when George seen me, he come around the porch, sliding his hand on the porch, and looking me straight in the eye, and I was looking him straight in the eye. And I said then, you are mine.
Is that the first boyfriend you ever had?
Huh?
Was he the first boyfriend you ever?
First boyfriend I ever had. And we had some terrible fights going to school, but still we were sweethearts. And then we married, started raising the children, and what we had when we went to housekeeping, we had one bed. Mother gave us a bed, and she gave us a pillars, and we had a straw tick. And we had one chair and a little wooden dynamite box.
She's rocking over there. She's rocking.
And I sat on the little box, and that George had the chair. And we had the table. He's not going to let me have it.
Okay. Just back on now.
Well, let's see, what was I talking about?
Oh, you was talking about your games you played.
Yeah. Now that was our pastime. And one of my cousins, she had a habit running over me. So Mom, we were going to spend the weekend with them. And Mom told me, she said, now listen, if Mary Lily jumps on you this time, and you don't whip her, I'm going to whip you when we get home. And I knew that was true. When Mom said she's going to whip me, I knew that that was true. Well, the next morning, while Mom and Aunt Emmy was cooking breakfast, Emily jumped on to me, and she had one of these rats, they called them, that was your hair around your head and hair pulled up around it in it. Boy, I grabbed it, and me and her had it there for the longest, and under the table we went. And Aunt Emmy, she was trying to separate us, and Mom, she said, oh no, let them fight it out. Said, and from that day on, we were the best of friends. So it just took that, I reckon, for her to know that I could take my part. And the lonely hours that I had after Papa died, Mom moved in a great big old house on the road. And I would watch for the sun to come through on the jamb of the chimney. And I knew night was beginning to come when that come on the jam rock. I'd go out into the road, and if any of my cousins passed, I'd beg them to come in and stay all night with us. I was lonely. I had a lonely life when I was a child, after Papa died.
Uh-huh. What killed your father?
TB, they called it consumption back then.
Yeah.
And it was TB that killed him.
How old was it?
Huh?
How old was it?
Honey, I don't know. I don't know how. But he wasn't.
How often as a child, did you get candy and treats and things like that compared to what children get today?
Huh?
How often did you get candy and treats and cokes? And
Oh, we got candy and grapes and fruit from the mail carrier.
you ordered them?
No, the people would send it to us that was on the route.
Yeah.
They was, the family had a grape vineyard, and they would send us grapes. Well, a lot of them would send us candy. And so,
That was because your mother was a widow?
yeah, and she was working.
Uh-huh.
Honey, she had, what she done, she had to wash an arm, clean house for people. That was on a job back then. And so they was, let's see. to. I don't remember where we moved from when we moved from that place, but I was so glad when we moved from that place. It was so lonely. And then it's been, I had a rough life. I have had a rough life back when I was a child. I didn't have things that people have now. And, but still, I said, everybody seemed happy. They wasn't all, confused.
But about everybody had the same back then.
Yeah, and a family got sick. They were neighbors that would come, visit, bring stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not that way now. We had one woman that, Buddy, if somebody was sick in her community, she took sheets, pillowcases. If they needed their bed changed, she changed it. Now, she was really a good worker. But, and everybody now seems to be going somewhere and ain't going nowhere either.
Yeah.
And just a working. So I reckon that's about all of mine.
Okay, I'll turn it off now. We'll think of some more things later.
Okay.
Let the battery rest, huh?
How far was your nearest neighbor?
Huh?
Your mom was back there in the north. How far away was your nearest neighbor?
Oh, George and them was right down in
Near you?
their house was. George's mother.
How we doing, Carl?
Your oldie's got to give us
I'm about sick now. I eat too many of them pickles.
Jerry. Yeah, it's running arthritis, bursitis, all kinds of these itises.
all that milking causes all these items.
Yeah.
I can't stand a sour pickle.
I don't either. And old Robert, them Dale pickles, he'll get one out and one in each hand.
I brought a jar of Dale. I've never made it before. I ate some last time.
I have done.
Well, they're too sour for me. They'll make a big squeal seeds. Man, they are sour. And I'm on one of these, and the kids are probably one of these.
No, I can't stand a sour pickle.
Them that's in there in that jar, it's, sliced up. I don't know what I can call them. I've been eating.
Kitchen floor.
Kitchen floor.
Well, listen.
I thought they
I want
had
to
a
ask you
kitchen
something else,
floor.
Paul. Yeah, I want to ask you something else. What was your back then? What did you have mostly to eat?
Well, we had clay peas. We raised them in the field, in the corn.
Uh-huh.
And we had garden stuff. Everybody raised a garden. We had kraut. We had pickle beans. And that was our eats. But we didn't have all of the stuff that there is now.
You didn't have nothing like cereal for
They didn't even
breakfast.
have it in the stores back then.
Uh-huh. Well, another thing I'd like to know, what was the schools like then when you went to school? And what was your teacher like?
Honey?
Do you think you learned more then, what part you went to school than the children
Oh,
do?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And how did the teachers teach? And I mean, what
Honey?
was the difference
They was interested in the child.
as an individual?
And they was interested in the individual.
Yes.
And if a child had something that he didn't understand, he held up his hand. The teacher would go to him. If it wasn't an excuse, hold up,
Yeah.
she would help him with that. So Our teaching is so much different than what it was then.
About how long did you go to school before you learned to read, like you read
I
today?
didn't learn to read. I didn't go to school enough to learn to read.
You do read now.
I learned it after I was married.
Uh-huh. But you must have picked up something back then to teach you how to read now, didn't you?
No, George had an aunt that would write us letters. Well, I'd take them summers and get them read. I couldn't read it. So I decided that I was going to learn to read and write. So I don't know how many tablets and pencils I used. And we lived down on 9 Mile. And there was a family over there had a store, Jim Ryan's store. So I would take her letters, the George's aunt's letters, and I would look at them, her writing. And I got till I could write. Well, I wrote Mom a letter. And I took it over to the store to see if the woman could read it. She read it and she said, why, yes. Go back home and mail, address your envelope, send it on. Anybody can read that. And from that day on, I've been reading and writing.
Could your mother read and write?
No.
What schools did you go to? What was the name of them?
Well, I went to Oak Hill, and I went to Little Bullet.
Where's that located, in Monroe County?
Yeah, it was in Monroe County. And the lake took the Oak Hill school that I went to. We lived down on Little Tennessee River when my daddy died. And the lake took it,
Yeah, of course.
Oak Hill. And then Little Bullet, it was there in Monroe County.
It's a 2-room
And
schoolhouse,
after
1
a
room.
while, I didn't go to school much. After we moved into the Knobs, they was Bat Creek. And if it rained or a bit, it got over the bridge. It'd get everywhere. And that's why there was so much we didn't go to school. And I went to New Hope. That's my last school I went to, was New Hope. But I never did care about arithmetic. I never did. But now I wished I'd, got interested in it.
Who was the name of some of your teachers? Do you remember them?
No, I can't. I can't remember my teachers' names. But I do remember a boy that went to Oak Hill. He was, I can't think of his first name, but he was a wheeler. And he would pad himself and do something mean to get a whipping. They whipped with a paddle then. And then when she'd hit that, he'd be patted with something or another that didn't hurt him. I remember that, but I can't remember my teachers. I remember one of my teachers, Harris
Breakville?
Harris Breakville.
There's some of those still live around Madisonville, Breakville.
Yeah, I met him in town one time and talked to him. And he was really a good teacher. And I know we would have rackets with the children going from school. And I called them kids. And he said, now, children, not kids. Kid is a billy goat. So I remember that very well. My days in the Knobs still.
Did the Knobs have a school?
Huh?
Did the Knobs have a school?
They had New Hope and Burton Hill. But Burton Hill was about, I guess it was 6 or 8 miles from home. But,
Was the Knobs in Monroe County?
Yeah. Yeah, it was called Bad Creek Knobs. And
What's that place called now? Is it still called the Knobs, or does it have a name? Down there where you
no,
was raised.
it's just still called the Knobs, I reckon. That's all I've ever called it.
Yeah.
Is the Knobs. And that Craighead Cave that is now, what is it now?
Lost Sea.
Lost Sea. I lived in about 5 miles of it and never did see it, never did go to the cave.
And what was the name of the cave then?
Craighead.
Craighead.
Craighead Cave
Uh-huh.
was the name of it then. And that's, I never did go up there to hit.
Birth of your first baby.
Well, me and George, he was working at a quarry. Iron ore quarry. You worked on top of the ground, you didn't.
Try not to walk rock, Mom, because it.
And me and him went up Sunday evening and walked all around overhead where he'd been working. Well, I got to hurting. And I said, let's go to the house. So I suffered from Sunday evening till Tuesday at 12 o'clock. And honey, it was pouring down rain. Couldn't get a doctor in there. Finally got one.
What was the doctor's name?
I don't know. Can't remember it. But Mr. Lemons now was a mid-man. You'd call him a mid-man. He delivered about every baby down in Monroe County, around there. And he was there at the house with me. And Arthur was born about 12 o'clock. And the branches was all over everywhere. The water, it was raining. So finally they got a doctor from Sweetwater. And he got in there and the baby was done born. Well, he checked me and the baby. Everything was fine. And that was the end of that.
What year was he born?
He was born in the 3rd of February, 1920.
1920.
How old were you?
He was 15 years old, because she's 85 and he's 60.
I was 15 years old. And then the next 30th of January, Carl was born. And Carl,
They're busy talking.
Yeah.
We want them all to get in here.
Get over there, Dad.
the buttercups and everything was green when you were born, too. The buttercups down there around the house were really in bloom. And the little spring frogs down that branch was hollering. Oh, it was really, and it was warm. It wasn't cold. It wasn't cold.
What year was that, Mom? 21.
That was the 30th of January in 1921.
That was, what date was that?
January the 30th, 1921.
So the buttercups was in bloom early that year, weren't they?
Yeah,
Like it is this year.
yeah.
69 years ago.
And there's 4 days that Carl and Arthur's the same age.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, from the 30th of January to the 3rd of February, Arthur and Carl both, they were both 69 years old. And then the 3rd of February, then Arthur passed Carl up on the 70th.
Now, your third child was who?
Trudy.
Rudy. Rudy.
Yeah,
And what day was she born? And
she was born,
we'll say who it was.
Miss Montgomery. They got her to come and stay with me while they went after Mr. Lemons and Mom over back in the Knobs. Mom lived in the Knobs, and it was raining that day. And Miss Montgomery was fixing breakfast. And she would come to the door and tell me some of the dangest, funniest stories you ever heard to get me to laugh. And me laying there suffering.
That was Lamar's back then.
And so, Mom and Mr. Lemons and George finally got back. And so, Pretty was born when they all got back.
What day?
The 3rd of
The 4th.
the 4th of March, 1922. And Ellen was born.
Was she the next one? Yeah.
Ellen was born, and we lived close to a nurse at that time. And Ellen was born the 26th of October in 1923.
Three. What was the weather like that day?
Well, it was not too bad. It was not a raining or not a snowing. And Gooley, Georgie's brother, was there to spend the night with us, and he had to sleep in the barn. He had to go to the barn and sleep. And so Mary Shields was the one that delivered Ellen. She was a nurse. And that's where I got a lot of my learning from Mary to deliver babies.
Ellen wants to speak.
No.
Okay, after Ellen was
Well, I went from 1922, 23, and then to 1925, Johnny Harmon.
Daddy was too late for
And it was so beautiful. Mother had gathered a big bouquet of the
Yeah, you went bar hunting
Easter
for years.
little buttercups and had them on the dining room table. We had all the windows up and the shades, the curtains were blowing. It was so pretty. And Mother fixed breakfast. And I was laying there in the bed suffering death over and over. And when Doc McCollum walked in that door, it stopped like that. It just scared me, I reckon, it's bad till it was all gone. But finally, it started back
And
up.
that was what day and year?
That was the 13th day of March, 1925.
After Johnny,
And I went from 1925 to 1927.
got to skip 2 years in. That's gone bar hunting.
Did Daddy go bar hunting? Daddy go bar hunting again.
So, we lived down on 411. The house, you can see it now from 411 driveway, where we lived.
That's where I met him this morning.
No, I wasn't born. And, let's see, that was Johnny. That was Johnny. And he was born in 1925, the 13th day of March. And then Ruth was born the 3rd of March, 1927, down next to Lanier. And Maybelle, George's sister, and her husband was in the house with us. We were following the sawmill. And George and Joe had made it up with each other to go for one another when whichever one got sick first. Well, a bunch of George's, they was Lib and Gooley, I believe. That was George's uncle and his brother, come up to spend the night with us. And so I told George to tell them they'd have to go somewhere else, for I knew then I was sick. And so George and Maybelle was in another room, and they know that I was sick. Joe never did make an offer to go. Well, George wanted to go, and I said, no, you're not leaving me. So George stayed with me, and Ruth was born, and George's mother was a staying with Maybelle. She began running around hollering, oh, Lord, what will we do? What will we do? Oh, what will we do? I said, sterilize the scissors and fix me a cord, and I'll take care of it. So they did. Boiled some water, sterilized the scissors, made a cord, and I had them to lift her up there by me where I could cut the cord. I cut the cord, fixed the navel, pad on it.
I just botched up everybody.
And then when the afterbirth come, they took it on out. I got along just fine.
And that was what year and day?
That was the 3rd of March, 1927.
And then your next child?
And so in 2 weeks, we moved from down there up on the old Wallen Highway. The sawmill had moved and we had to follow it. And I took milk fever and I thought I was going to die. And George's mother was still staying with Maybelle. And she fried out pancakes just like you was going to eat them, only she didn't put sugar and stuff in them but she had that hot grease. And honey, she would paste them or put them to my breast. And that is what cured me of the milk fever. And Ruth nursed some of that, I'm pretty sure. And I wonder sometimes.
That's the reason that's my problems today. The way I just throw around handle.
Yeah. Slapped everything on his breast you had to feed.
Okay, 4 years after she was
Tied up
born,
with no string.
Well, then we moved out of Monroe County to Blount County. And January the 16th, 1931, Bob was born. I went from 27 to 31.
got to rest them.
I got to rest that long.
Daddy went on a long hunt. That went on a long bear hunt that time.
She had her 7 kids in how many years?
Well, the first one was born, Arthur was born in 1920.
20 and
20.
Elisha was 31. That was
1920 to 30.
She had 7 years.
7 kids in 11 years? 20 and 31?
Well, go ahead and tell about Bob when the day he was born and the year.
Well, it was a frosty morning. The frost on the garden fence, it was a wire fence. It was frosty. And I knew that that was what it was. And I sent the children up to Jack Weeks's. They lived up above us there from the old log house. And that's when Johnny and J.R., wasn't there a boy named J.R.?
J.R. Wade.
J.R. Johnny had on J.R.'s cap, and they were up on the bed jumping up and down, and Miss Weeks come in and got a hold of Johnny and like to beat the fire out of him.
Because she thought it was his
She
kid.
thought it was J.R. They had changed caps. So Johnny, when he come home, he said, "Don't ever send me up there no more." He wasn't going up there no more. And so then, Miss Land, I sent up to get her. She came down there. That was Kelly Lee's husband's mother. And she come down there. She just lived up a little ways from us there at the old log house. And so then George went and got old Doc Kittrell. So he come down there and Bobby was born. and everything was fine.
And that was her life.
And that was my life.
Until your grandkids started coming.
And I want to show where Ray's quilt
And my
top.
grandchildren now.
Ellen, tell about who made it.
All right. This Ray's done this quilt like the little red hen, you know, that wanted somebody to help her. I was at a flea market and I seen this quilt top, one just like it. It was $20 and I couldn't believe my eyes, so I bought it. And Ray, he liked it so well, he said, well, I'm going to have me one of them. So we called different people. No, we wouldn't piece one like that. It's too little, too much trouble. So Ray said, well, I'll do it myself. So he got the scraps and he went to cutting the pieces. He cut the pieces and he sewed every one of them by himself. He's the one that made the quilt. So that's the story of the quilt. Ray says if there's any good-looking woman that wants to buy it.
Oh, they're going to sing. Oh, okay.
Put a French up, I'll play here while you're singing.
No, you don't. They
So it
hit.
don't.
Yeah.
I reckon that's what they said.
That's what the fuck.
I'm an noted highway robber, Crow Younger is my name. I've traveled this country over till I brought my name to shame. I'm a robber of the Northfield Bank, crime I'll never deny. So I'm locked down in the Stonewall jail, stay there till I die. We started out for Texas to the good old Lone Star State. It was our own Nebraska prairie, the James boys we did meet. Said Jesse to Bob, just come on boys, let's have a little game. A good old game of poker to while the time away. As we were set up playing, a highball came along. Said Jesse James, I'm a robber, I rob 'em just for fun. Well, the engineer killed the brakeman, farmer's gate was light. Their bodies now lie molding beneath that Nebraska sky. We mounted on our horses and onward we would go to the God-forgotten country of Minnesota. Well, I had my... If we undertake it, boys, we'll forever curse the day. I stationed out my pickets and in the bank did go. It was there across the counter I made this fatal blow. I said, hand out your money, sir, and don't make no delay. For we are the James and the younger boys and have no time to stay. That cashier proving as true as still refused to give that faithful man. Well, the search were made for the money inside. The battle out the doors begun. And Brother Bob was shot through the heart. We mounted on our horses, 400 on our trail. And before the day was over, we landed in the Stonewall jail. We landed in the Stonewall jail to wear our lives away. Now the James boys can tell the rest of this one awful day.
Hey. I think this old doctor's place was retired. So he went out there then on Saturday and was going to open up his office on Monday. And he went to this old doctor and said, Doc, said, now, can you tell me anything about these people out here? I said, you know I'm coming out here to just take over. You can tell me maybe what they go for and don't go for, old doctor. Well, said, just one thing, said, when you make your diagnosis, stick with it. Said, don't change it, they don't like that. So next morning he opened up his office, here come a big nigger woman in, weighed about 200 pounds. Said, Doc, said, there's something wrong with me. He told her to get up there on that bed. She got up there on the bed and examined. Well, miss, said, look like you got locked bowels, said, that's your trouble. She said, oh no, Doc, said, I've had the diarrhea for the last 2 weeks, so bad I couldn't hardly go. And he said, that's what I mean, they're locked wide open.
can't get this one open.
Oh, I get his right sharp open.
Yeah, he'll know.
Open it up for him, Brother Carl.
Oh, I see. Hey, come.
I got the one with the big
I ain't
mouth.
gonna play with him, big mouth.
What's the biggest mouth?
I look like,
Hey, all the, you
I look
bring
like
in
that
the,
McCoy guy on TV there.
All right, come on. Now, girls, you get up and dance. Come on, baby, and move.
Your partner, don't you know? Bobby. Bobby, he's late.
isn't that the shape now?
I'd say like freight train. Got jiggle now, he can't wait. Bobby, he's blowing.
Hey, John.
Come on, Robbie.
3 kids down there catching that train. One holding paper knife.
Mine sprung it.
It's flooded.
I can't play that.
Daddy, play Wabash County.
Yeah, that's
Earl.
what
Wabash County ball.
Well, I'll play the fox game, you know.
Johnny make it.
He used to play some.
Run across the coast.
Train run over it.
Bobby used to play too.
Not me.
Yeah, him wanted to play that Wabash, wasn't him?
Yeah, Wabash County.
Wabash.
I don't know the Wabash County ball on French harp.
He
You
has to
haven't
play,
sung yet.
he has to play
Well,
that on
sing
his
it
guitar.
then, before they can get it on the recording. And that you can follow her up on that.
I want him to sing me the Geisha Girl.
They come on back and ball starts.
I eat fire furnace.
Like ocean wild. Southfield, Baltimore. She's a mighty tall and handsome. She's known well by all. She's a reckless combination on the Wabash Cannonball.
Now, Johnny, get it.
And she pulled into Birmingham one cold December day. As she walked up to the depot, you could hear all the people say, Said there's a girl from Gravelly Hill, she's long and tall. She ain't down around playing cannonball. That's it.
Now then, get the Frank Sharpman, Carl, you sing that song for Mama. Geeshy Girl. She wants to hear that. That's
Yeah.
Grandma's bequest.
Which one of these got the Gishy girl?
That's right, here's your part.
Has you ever heard a love song that you couldn't understand? I met her in a tea house on the islets of Japan. Well, I know my home, cut that off. Cut. Oh, cut.
That's why you want to cut. Do that one.
Cut. Just cut that fire off. Home folks that I'm happy with someone true I know. I fell in love with a tissue girl on the ocean breeze that blows. Well, I stood and watched the sunrise from the waters of the sea. Then I wondered how much beauty in this whole world could there be. Well, it made my dreams worth dreaming, and it makes my life worthwhile to see a pretty tissue girl resting only in a smile. Stick to dog food.
That's all her road. That's all she did. Carl, that looks like old Jet
I've
Left.
walked away on every way,
I've watched the silver
and I heard
sail.
that you had waited left.
Get together, your brothers.
After I
They did get on television. Break film.
It's hard to come in there with something like that.
You know, I've watched the driftwood float on by. I've watched the sea roll on its weary way. I've watched the silver sails out on the ocean, just hoping that you'd return to me someday. But I'm still waiting. In the moonlight, just hoping that you'd return to me someday.
We had Eddie.
Always waiting. Baby, wait. You got
There is a little man in this thing.
And you'll always find me there till close time.
Now what's that one Dylan sang?
Well, I feel like a stranger in this home I've built for you.
You sing that.
Lately I've been watching that awful change you're going through. Slowly I've watched your love grow colder every day. And I'd rather be gone than in your way. I'd rather be gone than in your way. I'd rather see someone else now in my place. And if I should decide on leaving, my world would end today. And I'd rather be gone, 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 gone. In your way. The news is out all over town that you'd been seen out running around. I know that I should leave, but then I can't go on. You win again. This heart of mine could never see what everybody knew but me. I trusted you with my racing.
they say that absence makes the heart grow fonder. That's the way it's happened every time before. And as sure as the sun comes up tomorrow, I in time will start when you walk through the door. Well, it's crying time again, you're gonna leave me. I can see the faraway look in your eyes.
Well, you coming?
I can tell by the way you hold me, darling. It won't be long before it's crying time.
Johnny and Ellen.
Just fell off my favorite rocking chair.
There goes the cat, watch its tail on my rocking chair. Oh, Saint he kissed Mama last night.
Don't send me no flowers when I'm gone.
No, you'll have a
Said this old
you'll have a good
heart
time
of
at
mine can't take it much more.
Ellen, you know what it was.
I forgot the words of it.
I just start off on something and we're like car says, we'll jump in.
I don't know the words right.
You sang
Yeah.
it when
You're going away, and don't send me no flowers when I'm gone.
That's
See, there'll be flowers from those who cry when I'm gone.
Oh, Lord.
I know you'll have fun at my farewell party. I know you'll be glad when I'm gone. That's all I know.
That's all we know now.
Then saddling bridle on the ship, running boy, you sing it yourself.
Chicken and a bread pan picking up the dough. Mama, you dog bite no child no.
Listen to me, I'll sing a song, sing it all to you.
All day
I'll
long.
sing you a song about the kicking his mule.
Say,
He went for one more.
Sally, she can land them. She loves them and she leaves them. Sally, let your bangs hang
He's
down.
wrong for the wild mule. He's long and strong. Kicked the brown cat up on top of the house and swallowed the great big dog.
That old me would go, yaw.
He's got me away. Just keep your secret life's chain and hold on to the sleigh.
Ain't got time to kiss you now, my mule's running away. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Now hear them snow bells ringing. Snow is falling fast. I've got this mule and harness and I got him hitched at last.
Kick both high feet down the throat.
Light in the bonnet, come take your seat. Grab that board you're sitting on and give her up your feet. Now don't get scared of nothing. What you hear or see, Liza, I'll step this mule and you must stay with me. Let that mule go. Somebody coming in there.
Last night, darling, I can't believe the things that I saw.
Me neither.
I got over you just long.
That I've been washed
Heartaches in.
from the
winter.
winter.
Tonight I started loving you again.
Then I heard you whisper soft to him, darling, that our love was all wrong.
Oh, where the lead singer goes? What's that, what you gonna do? Split.
That's not night.
The little house in this same town, and where he goes, he will sit down. He'll take strange girls up on his knee and tell them things that he won't tell me. It troubles me so, I'll tell you why. They have more silver and gold than I. Their gold may scatter and their silver fly. And I hope someday they'll be as poor as I. Her dear old father came home that night, said, where in the world's my dear daughter at? He went upstairs and the lock he broke. He found her hanging to a rope. He took his knife and he cut her down, and in her bosom these words he found. Go dig my grave, both wide and deep. Place a marble stone at my head and feet. Up on my breast a snow white dove, to prove to the world that I died for love. These two girls back here, they was at my house, and one of them was born one day, and the next one was born the next day. 24 hours difference in their age, and they've always argued which one was the oldest. They've had a terrible time about that. And if I'd have had me some roller skates, I could have done a better job by taking care of them, but I had to walk and go from one bed to the other and take care of them. And so they've grown up now. I think they can understand that which one's the oldest. But they've always argued which one is the oldest.
Well, which one was born which?
No,
Your
which one was stubborn?
Your daughter Prudy.
My daughter Prudy was born
had Mama Ruth September the 20th.
Yeah, Prudy's daughter was born September the 20th, 19 and what? 41. And Annie and Carl's daughter was born Emma the 21st of September in 1941.
Leave it up to you now to figure who's oldest.
I was born at 12 o'clock, and my cousin was born the next day at 4 o'clock.
And she's one day older than I am.
When we was in school, I was always going around, you know, when we'd double date or anything, I'd go around, I'm older than she is, I'm older than she is. And now that we've got up in age, Emma goes around, she'll say, now who's the oldest, who's the oldest?
Hot face both of his heads off, Dave.
When we were in elementary school in first and second grade, she used to say, I'm older than you. And it would make me really mad.
Now you don't care.
And now I say, you're older than me.
I don't like it now today. Then Mama was a midwife. How many children do you think you delivered?
Well, I don't know.
Well, who was your first grandchild you delivered?
Well, the first one I delivered was down in Monroe County, and it was a have-to case.
She said your grandchild.
No,
Well,
That's what Bama
I
said. Who was your first grandchild?
J.W.
Not your Ellen's. Oh,
Yeah, he's been the first one.
Yeah, he's been the first.
J.W. was the first.
I was the second one.
No, who was your last grandchild? Wanda, my daughter was first, and I woke up that morning on Sunday morning, 5 o'clock. Told Rain to bring me his mama's, and I went to mama's. Well, after I was sick all day that day, when I come back to church, I got out and played baseball all day. Every time the pain hit me, I'd hit the ball that much harder and run. And at 10 o'clock that night, she was born, and Mama wanted to go after the doctor, and I told him, I said, if you go after the doctor, I'll take off through the woods here, and I won't be back. And Mama delivered my first baby. But who was your last grandchild, Grandma, you delivered?
I don't remember.
You don't remember who was the last one that had the last? Let's see, back when she was a
There's too
midwife.
many now.
Too many now.
Too many now, I don't
Well,
know.
I know, but
How many do you think he had delivered of all?
Oh, I've delivered over 100.
Over 100?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
yeah, a
I'm
lot
saying-
over 100.
There's not been 500
Tell your
yet.
first
And I went
experience,
across,
Grandma.
there was a man a woman over in Knox County. And there was a man come after me one night. We lived out there at the old Russell house. He came after me, and I went back with him. And when I got over to the river, I seen what I was going to have to get in. It was a little old canoe. I got in there and went across okay. And it was dark. I didn't see all of it, you see, but I seen it was a little old canoe. Well, the next day when he brought me back home, there he had a bucket in there, and he dipped water out of that thing all the way across. And I said, when I got in it, I said, Lord, if you'll let me live to get back across the waters, I will never get in another boat to go deliver no baby. And I didn't. I've not got in there in another boat.
Did you ever deliver a baby that you lost? The mother
Yes,
or the
I
child?
lost a mother and a baby.
You did?
Yeah. But I had a doctor. All the doctors, there was 2 or 3 doctors in Maryville that would come to me when I called them and I needed them. And so I called the doctor. And he came down there. And after it was all over, she went into convulsions before the baby was born. And after it was all over, he told them, he said, don't blame nobody but yourselves. He said, don't blame Miss Harmon. Don't blame nobody but yourselves. She had poisoned kidneys. And the baby was hair-lipped. It didn't have no upper lip. And it was one of my good friend's sisters. And that was closed. It hurt me. But there wasn't a thing I could do about it.
Well, tell her about delivering J.W. what all went on when I got sick.
Oh, yeah. Well, when Bill Simmerly was bringing Ellen, I knew she was pregnant, knew she was going to have the baby. And so I knew she was coming home there when she got ready to have it. And so I looked out one day, and there come Ellen and Bill Simley up through the yard, and Ellen was carrying a bag. And I said, oh, Lord, has her note separated? Has she left? That was first thought come in my mind. And what in the world, I don't know. But she was sick to have J.W. And oh, what was it he couldn't come on then?
Probably it was.
We had to walk from the old house up to Gravelly Hill. He had flat on his car,
Yeah,
and that's why Bill brought me to your house.
yeah.
And then when he fixed the flat, he went on to Princeton and got the doctor, and when he got back to your house, J.W. was done born.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's your first grandchild?
That was the very first
That was-
grandchild.
That was my first grandchild.
Mama was in bed dying with the
Sinus trouble.
sinus trouble. She was really sick. She forgot about her sinus trouble.
St. Ellen going in labor.
I was sick all night, you know, and I took liniment and I done everything. I thought it was just cramping.
Well, I would say just guessing roughly.
Your baby
It was
pain,
either one of Annie's or Mother's.
Huh?
baby pain,
She
son.
probably the last one
baby
she
pain.
delivered.
I didn't know it.
I don't remember which one was the last one.
And then me and Wanda.
But the first one I delivered was a have-to case. It was in Monroe County, and the woman,
Well, if she didn't deliver Bobby, I had Bobby
the
myself.
woman
We woke her up after you.
was such a friend.
Bobby might have been the last one. I'd say Bobby was the last one.
While Mother and them was all down up there with typhoid, she was pregnant. She was as big as she could be.
Yeah, I'd say Bobby. was
She'd
the
come
last
up there and spread a sheet down in the floor. She didn't come up there and say, what can I do? She'd spread a sheet down in the floor, and then she'd gather up all the dirty clothes, and she'd put them in that sheet and bring them up and tie them across her shoulder, and down her house she'd go. Well, when she got ready to have the baby, why, that old man come up there, her husband, he was real old. He was older than she was, a lot older. And he come up there and got me, and I went down there. and he was going to deliver the baby. And he couldn't have C. And I said, no, you're not going to deliver the baby. I'm going to deliver the baby. He said, well, can you deliver the baby? And I said, yes, I can deliver the baby. If everything goes right, everything will be fine. And that's how come me to deliver the first one I ever lived delivered.
You already had children of your own at that time?
Oh, yes. We lived up there at the old Davis place. And that was my first one.
Well, did you take care of Ruth? Is that she the only one you took care of yourself when she born?
Yeah. Yeah, I took care of her myself.
Was she the only kid you born that you took care of yourself?
That you helped deliver yourself? That you had someone
Yeah,
with you other
yeah.
kids?
I had someone with there, all the rest of them but her. And how come it?
It was her mother, Daddy's mother.
Joe's, Abbott, Maybell's husband, and we were all in the same house, following the sawmill. Well, Joe and George had made up plans to go for each other, whichever one, had to go.
Was Maybell pregnant with Buddy at that time?
No, she was pregnant with Junior, their first baby. And so I knew what was coming up, and I took my bath. I put me some hot water, a kettle of water on the stove, and took my bath, and I knew I was getting pretty far along. And George went in and woke him up and told him that I was sick. And Joe never did make no efforts to get up and go get it. There was an old colored lady at Greenback that they was going to get to deliver our babies. And Joe never did make no effort to get up and go. And so Daddy then said, well, he was going. Well, I said, I was far enough along. I said, no, you're not leaving me. And so he stayed with me, and Ruth was born, and George's mother was there staying with Maybell. She began wringing her hands, Lord of mercy, what we going to do? What we going to do? I said, sterilize the scissors and make me a cord. I said, that's what you can do. Well, they did. So I had them then to lift Ruth up and put her up where I could take care of her.
And you cut your own cord?
I cut her cord. I fixed it into the little thing like a doctors do. And I put a little band on her. And was it?
Last time I remember, I believe I cut that band for you, didn't I?
Now the kids was allowed
She
in the
was
house
mean.
back then, wasn't Mama?
Huh?
When you were going down with childbirth, none of your other children were allowed to stay in the house back then, were they?
No.
No.
You made all the kids go to the neighbors.
No,
No
but-
one, she sent us off when Bobby's born. Well, she'd always told us the doctor brought him in a suitcase. Well, so I was up on the hill and I seen that kids were coming and he had that suitcase. Well, when we come back to the house and I seen Bobby in bed and I said, well, Mama, that doctor brought you the baby, did it? Yeah, he brought the suitcase.
And that's what you
And
tell the kids
I was
back
just about
then.
ready to get
Well-
married when I thought the baby's come in a suitcase. Yeah.
Which one was it?
Bobby.
I got to
picture on
talking,
that
Carl,
thing, dude.
forgot you.
I went when it was
Well,
pouring down
He's been
rain,
in here gurgling
I've
for
got
5
to go.
minutes.
when it was
It's
snowing,
3:30.
all, and now I get to thinking,
Oh, you coming down?
well, what good am I now?
Well,
And then I'll get to
You
thinking,
load
well,
them-
maybe I done all of my good deeds back
I
then.
load them,
Back
Place
then.
right in front of the heater.
did you load them sticks, no?
I delivered a many of a little
Load
old
them
baby into
sticks,
the
no.
world that,
Yeah.
just sell
and
somebody.
didn't get a thing in the
You
world.
have the money.
Well, this one
Boy,
friend
you
of mine,
didn't get
Mama,
that
used to go to
concrete
school with
no way.
us.
Huh?
This girl used to go to school with us, the Russell,
you
you know,
what.
Dorothy Russell.
Yeah.
She'll tell the story
I
like
put they
today,
got
she's
wet
in this
yesterday.
certain program,
I
and
got
she'll go
them
to
yesterday.
different places and give
And,
talks.
while I was coming up the
And
road,
she'll
it's
say
just in
that
rain, and
when
boy,
she
I
was
put 'em
born,
in
she
my
was just
drive,
working a
like
dozen
in
of
my drive,
eggs.
like
That
she
this
said.
lady, this midwife, that
No,
delivered her,
if you don't need
that
them,
her
I'll
daddy
put
and
'em
mama
on the
paid
barn, they run
this midwife a dozen of eggs for her, so that's what she was
Well,
worth.
I guess that's what
Goodbye.
they made
He won't
me.
let
Yeah, they gave you a dozen eggs, then
I sure
really
would.
don't know. I don't know.
It had rained and it
Maybe
was
it's a
flooded,
I'd
and he
say
was down there
First
next
time,
to,
first time I bought one.
he
Now, they're a
lived
lot
down
higher
where
now. First time I
Henry
bought one,
Brown's
they
place,
said
down in there somewhere.
Now, they're a lot.
Boy, he was coming after
They're
me.
yours.
He come down
You
through
didn't-
that water
I
splashing
didn't pay you
like a
enough for it.
horse.
Oh,
He was running. He was splashing
I
water.
wasn't thinking about you splitting up.
And
Well,
he was absolutely scared to death.
What was it, your daughter Ruth that was gonna be a midwife like you and deliver one of her sister's babies? What was that about? Mother, you,
Well,
No, it was pretty.
I was fixing to have the only son I've got, Bobby. So I went back home, and Ruth was home at that time. And so I told her, I said, now when he's born, me and you're going to deliver it. We won't wake Mama up. Well, that night I got sick, and I told her, we fixed her bed, put on her water, filled her stove, put her water on. Well, we kept walking around, drinking my water broke, and Ruth got the mop, and wherever I went, she was mopping behind me. So right time for the baby to be born, Ruth said, oh Lord, go get Mama right quick. I thought she was going to deliver that baby, but she laid down there and I seen what I did. Oh, boy.
Well, Mama didn't.
I wanted my mom. Yes, Mama. Mama got up and said, what's going on? I said, the baby's here.
You're some midwife, Ruth.
Yeah. Boy, what I made it just fine till
you see what
I
was
seen
there?
what was out coming off. I'm going to get after Mama.
Don't mash her down.
Hold your head over this.
It's
You
too much
know.
light.
And
Oh,
you get
yes,
Carl?
you-
Carl, get bring me in.
Get up here, Carl.
Oh, you head up a little, Mom.
Huh?
Oh, you head up a little.
Say, this is my downfall, having this bunch here with me.
Now, say something, Mama.
They have.
Give 'em all some advice.
This is all of my children, and I am really proud of them.
Tell us how to behave, what to do.
When they will behave, but I'll tell you, sometimes you have to be pretty rough with them to get them to quieten down.
They're all here but one.
They're all here but one, the oldest one is not here. And I am sorry.
The youngest one's here, I hear.
No, here's the youngest.
No, I'm the youngest.
Here's the youngest in here.
Hey, now, Mama.
No, you're not the youngest one.
Which one you got, Mama? It's the meanest.
Showing too much partiality, aren't you, John?
I'm gonna move before she answers that question. Which one's the meanest?
Which one was your meanest kid,
Mama
Miss
told us
Harmon?
to save the best one for the last.
Yeah.
Which one was the
Well,
hardest?
I guess it was Ellen and John.
Uh-oh.
You said one, Ellen.
Now, which one was your bestest, Mama? Which one was your best?
Didn't have one, didn't you? Have a bestie.
Ruth was her best.
Which your bestest now?
Huh?
Ruth and Carl's your best?
No, they're all the same now.
Oh, they're all the same now?
Yeah.
When
It
you
was
grow it
just
up.
when they was growing up.
Oh, just one was going.
Which
one's the skinniest right now? Which one's the skinniest?
Bruce is skinny.
That's the trouble with being the youngest one. You get rooted away from the table. That's why I'm slaying.
He's not fat.
Got rooted off the
Well,
titties,
fine, baby.
They made a rule when hard supper.
No, I'm
one
proud
fell
of,
down,
I'm
you
proud
just
of all of them, and
Go back, sit
I
down.
don't have but one grandson now, and I'll tell you, I love him too. And I just love all of my family.
How many grandkids, great-grandkids do you have?
Honey, I don't know how
Coming up
many.
lately, have you?
Last time she counted the great-great-grandchildren, I've had 55.
55 great-great-grandchildren.
No, that was the great-grands.
Oh, the great-grand?
Yeah, and the great-great-grands, I ain't got them counted up yet. They run away with me.
Next rainy day, she's gonna count them up.
I've got 27 grandchildren, I think.
Well.
Johnny, you got out of the picture, boy.
27 grandchildren.
When it's gonna say which is meanest, I got out of the picture.
What are you doing to him?
You tripped over the rug. I was going to tell her that this is the star of the show. When you send that in, tell Hee Haw that this is the star of the show.
That's Roy Clark.
The sign.